What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Swiftcoin today at the request of Jason Carrillo Rio. We're doing this for you, my friend. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, you guys. Let's get into it. All right. As I told Jason, open up, you guys. You're about to get your daily dose of bullish Caesarness, all right? And it's actually not been daily, has it? I don't know. When was the last time I made a Swiftcoin video? It's been a couple days. To be fair, though, I've been waiting for you to look like you were going to do something. March 4th. Okay, it's been, this would be the third day if I didn't talk about it. Anyways, here we go. Feels like it's been longer than that, though, right? I was talking about it every day for a while there. Anyways, you look at this here, XCN and Swiftcoin, guys. They seem to perform hand in hand. It's kind of wild. And I mean, they're at the same prices basically. Like it blows me away though, because they look the same. Don't they look the same? I mean, obviously the pumps aren't exactly the same, but kind of, right? Like, I mean, like kind of, you got this little move up, consolidation, big move up, consolidation like this, very tight, diagonal to the downside, consolidation, or move up, consolidation, move up, tight, diagonal to the downside. You are moving sideways now. You've got like a double bottom. You've got like a double bottom here on XCN. They're not perfect. They're not the exact same, but even to the price point, 1.3 cents or 1.4 cents, it's kind of ironic, or maybe it's coincidental, or maybe it's not at all. Maybe it's intentional. I have no idea. But what you are doing, just like XCN, is you're finding support at your prior consolidation phases, all-time high. Or not all-time high, sorry, relative high. If we look at this on a relative low here to a relative high there, you're looking for right now a double bottom at the golden ratio. Now I want to address what I normally think of a situation like this, okay, and what has to happen to prevent that. So, because the situation that we're looking at now, to me, would actually more likely dictate that we would go down below 1 cent, down to the 786, 886. Now, if this wasn't Swiftcoin, if I wasn't more aware of it, if this wasn't something that I'd done daily analysis on, and been more familiar with, I might call that right off the bat. And that's normally what I would call, because you've hit the 382, found resistance at the 236, rejected the 232, found support at the 618, rejected the 0.5. You just continue to stair step this way generally, as long as you're rejecting these key fib areas. You know what I mean? That's generally how it happens. Not always, but generally. Doesn't mean always. It just means most of the time. So what I need to see, what I'm getting at here, is you bounced off the golden ratio and you rejected the 0.5. This is very indicative that you would likely go to the 786, 886 area, unless you do not close below the golden ratio. And I will say for Swiftcoin, it even kind of gets an extra pass, because as long as you're not closing below this line, 1.1182 cents, I think you're absolved of going lower. But what you need to do beyond not close below this line at 1.118 cents, and ideally don't even close below 1.2735 cents on a daily time frame. If you close below there on an hourly time frame, 4-hour time frame, that's fine, but no daily time frames. What you need to do, more importantly than not close below those, is to close above the 0.5. If you can close above the 0.5, you've basically solidified that you've formed a double bottom off the golden ratio. And most of the time on the golden ratio, the first attempt, you do find support. The second attempt is the one you break through, okay? And normally you reject the 0.5 or the 382, and then that second attempt is the one you break through, and then you go to this area here. If you bounce off the golden ratio and you close back above the 0.5, and especially if you can get above that 382, I would very much believe that even if you came down here and interacted a third time, you could go lower. It's possible you could go lower, but at least at that point, I think extensions would be off the table. Now, that's not guaranteed either, right? It's just generalities. Normally, once you've interacted with it multiple times, and it gets to the third time or beyond, that's whenever you stop considering extensions and you just consider maybe deep retracements at the worst, right? I don't think that's going to happen for Swiftcoin. I really don't even think that you're going to go, maybe you go below the golden ratio here, but I don't think you're going to close below it. Really, I do think that you are moving up, but that's what we want to see. I'm assuming that you will move up above 1.6339 cents over the coming days, and we'll likely see a daily close above there, but we need the daily close to confirm that this is a low, right? Last time you were moving up, it looked like a low. It was nice, but we didn't get confirmation. We actually rejected a very key area. That would have helped confirm that. If we're looking at the daily RSI here bouncing off the 35, coming up, rejecting the 45, and you're back down here. I don't have a problem with the daily RSI. It doesn't look like it's in the strongest posturing, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, overall higher lows, overall higher highs, you are getting overbought and you're not getting oversold. If you look at it from a small scope, it looks bearish. If you look at it on a large scope, overall, it's bullish. And of course it is, because if you look at the price on a large scope, same thing. It's bullish. This is not a bad thing. In fact, what I think Swiftcoin is in, more so than what XCN is in even, I think you are in a 5-wave impulsive count, Elliott wave count, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Elliott wave theory, it's not necessarily it's called theory for a reason, right? You don't actually, we don't know if it's completely valid, but there's a lot of times where I feel like it is, and I do think that it's, I suppose everything's a theory in technical analysis to some degree, but generally with Elliott wave theory you have waves 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's not a 5-wave impulse actually, because if it were, wave 4 can't interact with wave 1. So I was wrong. It's not a 5-wave impulse. Never mind. But still, you do seem to be in some kind of upward sloping channel nonetheless, where you've got higher lows here, higher highs. I didn't draw that bottom line the best, but you can see what I'm talking about. But that 5-wave counts out the window, because if it was an impulsive wave, again, I'm not the most knowledgeable on everything that there is Elliott wave. I know a little bit, but what I do know is that wave 4 cannot interact with wave 1, which you are certainly doing here. So anyways, what I also know beyond the fact that it's not an Elliott wave is that finding support at prior areas of resistance is really good. Finding support at your relative golden ratio is really good. Now we just need to get above that 1.6, well, just get above 1.7 cents and soothe our souls, man. Anytime that you hit the 236, it's very, very uncommon that you would go below below the low beforehand. If you get above the 236, it's very uncommon that you would go lower than this low before interacting with the 382 area. Now you got somewhat close, but I would still kind of be looking for that. It's very uncommon to go lower. If you went lower, just understand that's like something that happens 10% of the time. It's not a common thing at all to happen, but it does happen. It does happen. 10% does mean it can happen, right? It's like the greens on roulette, the zeros, it's 1 out of, 32, 1 out of 33, something like that, 1 out of 36. I forget how many there are. I should know. I'm a degenerate. I think it's 1 out of 30. It would be 1 out of 33, or maybe 2 out of 33 if you have multiple greens, but it depends on what kind of roulette you're playing. Anyways, it still happens, is all I'm trying to say. Even out of 1 out of 33 chance, let alone a 1 out of 10 chance, it can still happen that you go lower than the slope, but I'm not expecting that personally, right? The odds would suggest that we do bounce from here. You do have a double bottom. Let's see, or at least you have that look of a double bottom now. I want to look at the 4-hour time frame. Somebody said they liked it whenever I did this yesterday, so we'll add it on there for Swiftcoin too. Right, yeah, I got all these bad boys on here. But when we do the shorter term stuff, we're probably going to need these indicators, the stochastics and the MACD. They're better served on daily time frames and beyond. They're not better served on a 4-hour time frame, generally speaking. Sometimes you can find respect. If you find respect, you find respect, and that's all that matters, right? If it works, it works. Who cares? If it works on a 1-minute time frame, good. But most of the time, it does not. These are momentum indicators, and momentum is something that you should gauge on a longer term time frame. Double bottom is looking pretty real at this point. Higher lows here, getting oversold, getting overbought. A little bit of volatility expressed there. Not so much a bearish look, but overall I would say kind of bearish on the 1 hour, but of course you are, because you've been moving down. I like the idea of a double bottom here. Let's see. I said 1 hour, but we're on the 4-hour time frame. And on the 1 hour, you're breaking out of your downtrend, aren't you? Breaking out of this downtrend here. You look like you're breaking out of that. So I think you found it, you guys. I think that's your low. I think you are going to move up higher. If not, remember, 1.1183 cents needs to hold as support on a closing basis. You can go below there, but don't close below there. But until then, until you do go lower, let's look to the skies. Let's look like you're going to go higher, you guys. On a daily time frame, you've got the MACD here showing double bullish divergence. And bullish divergence isn't always just because the dark lines here are coming up, the histogram's coming up, the bold histogram, and then it gets light and it's going down. What you need are bold readings, which you've got one here and one there. You've got double bullish divergence, right? You actually had the same thing happen last time here, if you remember, right? You had 1, 2, 3 triple bullish divergence right there, and look at what it promoted for you there. The daily time frame oscillators are also below the zero, which means that you've got lower lows in your oscillators, right? And in your histogram, to be fair, though, I don't think it matters so much on the histogram about the lower lows from over here. I don't think that matters so much. The oscillators are what matters more for this kind of scenario. And then you treat it kind of like the RSI on the oscillators. don't, but kind of do, in the sense that lower lows on the oscillators but higher lows in the price is a good thing. That's hidden bullish divergence. So you have bullish divergence on your histogram, hidden bullish divergence on the oscillators. For anybody that's wondering what this is, it's the MACD. It's something that I use in my analysis pretty regularly. I just don't normally have three things on here. I don't always use the stochastics, but I just figured I'd throw it on there because third time's a charm, three's a charm. I don't know. Though I suppose we have four. 1, 2, 3, 4, because price action is its own indicator to some degree as well. On that note, though, the stochastics are also promoting bullish divergence. It really looks like I'm just talking about XCN, man. They look very, very similar on their momentum indicators. And generally speaking, with the stochastics, whenever you are in the overbought or oversold zone and you start pointing upwards like this, you don't stop until you get into the overbought zone, generally. Where with the RSI, you can stop before the overbought zone and come back down. It's not always that simple, but the stochastics are normally either here or there, and then you're just traveling in between. Normally, that's kind of how it is. But sometimes, it doesn't happen quite that way. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, a little bit more effort, but definitely into bullish posturing on those two indicators there. We don't have bullish divergence so much, or I suppose we do, but I wouldn't call this bullish divergence. Bullish divergences in the RSI that aren't beginning in the oversold zones or overbought zones, they tend to be misleading. Okay, if you're on a monthly time frame, it's different, but daily, weekly time frames, just so you know, if you're using the RSI and you're looking at bullish divergence, you're seeing that this is a higher low. Well, let's be real, technically higher low there, lower low there. Yes, it is a form of bullish divergence, but if you're ever looking at bullish divergences just based on the RSI and you notice that they're not in the oversold zone, they're starting somewhere in the band, I wouldn't weigh on those too much. Normally it's the ones that are in the oversold or in the overbought zones that have weight to them, right? You had bearish divergence here until you closed higher, and that was outside of the overbought zone. So here you probably had bearish divergence, well, but that did lead you lower anyways. But anyways, all that to say, beyond me just trying to give you guys what my thoughts are on some indicators here, because I know some people appreciate that. They're learning technical analysis and just those little tricks, man. It's technical analysis for a reason. It's very technical, so I like to give my input in that every now and then. Likely, if you are moving up from here, if you're going to do the thing that I think you're going to do, you might be forming some kind of a W right here, right? And if that's the case, you would likely see a move that is a full recovery back up to this high and beyond. Now, I'm not saying that Swiftcoin has to move swiftly, right? Like it did the time before, but I wouldn't be surprised at all. This thing has some pent up aggression. You think XRP or XLM or Litecoin has pent up aggression, man? This thing, it's just letting loose. It's finally letting loose in its first cycle that it's actually cut loose and seen prices above its long phase of accumulation. I believe that you are going to see a rather rapid recovery by the end of this month. If you're not at this high, I would think that, or if you're not above this high, I would think that you're at least around it. Something at 4 cents to 4.7 cents. But truthfully, I think by the end of this month, you'll be closer to 7 cents than you will be to 4 cents or even 5 cents, if that makes sense. Oh my goodness. It's a lot of sense in there. 1272 to the 1618 would be your first stop. That's your primary target zone right here at about 7 cents to 11 cents. Okay. You probably do find turbulence here. I don't think that you just blast right through it, but you could. It's possible. But probably find some like form of consolidation here at the end of the month, going into April, and then you start to build higher, going into the 1886 2272 area, something that's around 15.6 cents to 26.4 cents, somewhere in that kind of zone there. Okay, and that's where I'm expecting this thing goes. At no point over the past few days, at no point over the past few weeks, have I at all believed that Swiftcoin was going to do anything less than a 10 cent move, not a 10% move, a 10 cent move. And at no point over the last few days has the 26 cent targets come off the table. I really do think, just like XCN, I really do think that this thing's going to stop between 15 and 18 cents, maybe 26 cents. That's not lazy analysis, you guys. It's just they literally pulled back the same. XCN from its high to low pulled back 72%. This thing pulled back 74%. XCN topped off at 4.9 cents. This thing topped off at 4.7 cents. They're too close together for them to not have the exact same targets. If they look this, and they do look the same, bottoming out, the growth and everything, I do think XCN, I have a feeling that XCN might get outperformed by Swiftcoin on this next one. I think Swiftcoin genuinely could. This last rally here, as nice as it was from a low to a high, that was at 8x. I don't think any of the Swifties out there were upset, right? We're taking the term Swifties back, you guys. I don't think any of the Swifties out there were upset about that move, but XCN in that same amount of time saw about a 20x, right? I'm assuming this could be the time where if they perform the same, okay, that makes sense. They could perform about the same. Maybe both of them see, only an 8x on this one, or maybe both of them see something that's over a 10x. But Swiftcoin might be more likely to see something that's over 20x on this move than XCN is. Does that make sense? Because XCN already had its 20x move. Swiftcoin hasn't. And just because it has it doesn't mean it has to. But perhaps I'm more friendly with that thought for that reason alone. So just be aware of that. If not, they'll probably perform very similarly. You're at $129 million in market cap now. That's another reason, right? $129 million in market cap is a lot lower than 466, so it'll be easier for you to move up. XCN with 52.9 million, that's just over 10%. That's nice. That's a good amount of volume there. We like to see that, but Swiftcoin, I think, has more. If we look at it, oh, no, it doesn't. It's actually got less volume. That's actually very low volume, which, again, that's not normally encouraging, to be completely honest. You would like to see something that's at least at like $13 million in 24-hour volume, but sometimes you do have coins that have low volume that still pump, and you might just be at low volume now because you're at the very ends of this consolidation phase, right? That's also very common to have low volume at the end of your consolidation phase. You can tell whenever you're actually doing things, the volume's coming in. So that's really all that matters. Don't weigh too heavy into that. If anybody sees that and they're like, does this mean Swiftcoin's broken? No, I don't think so at all. That's not at all what that means. If we look at this thing on a weekly basis, here, actually it wouldn't really be fair, would it? Let's see. We need to take something with more historical data. OKX, I think, has all the historical data. Yeah. Okay. Going back to 2018, is this the right one? I don't know. I thought it went back earlier than that even. What about the USD? Nope. Huh. Maybe that is the right one. Maybe this is the all-time history. For some reason, I thought Swiftcoin existed in 2017, but maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it was just a concept back then. High to low here. Tipster 1618, finding support just below the 1272. Likely your next target area would be the 2272 to the 2618. Generally speaking, okay, with the 1618, when you break above it, the minimum target would be something around here. But I don't think Swiftcoin's going to stop at its minimum target. So just reinforcing the idea, yeah, I do think it's going to be worth prices above 20 cents. Because also, generally speaking, the 2272, you wick a little bit above it. With this interaction from the 1618 to the 1272, you oftentimes don't stop at the 1886 to the 200. Maybe you do for a day or two, but you often move past that. So I'm actually very confident. I would even say I'm more confident in Swiftcoin's capabilities to hit 20 cents than I am XCN's. Watch XCN blow Swiftcoin out of the water. I'm not saying dump all your XCNs for Swiftcoin. Definitely don't do that. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. But if you're holding both, it's probably wise to hold both because you never know what's going to perform better. Maybe they'll perform the exact same, but to me, Swiftcoin does seem more likely to get to 20 cents. XCN, I believe, will get to 15 to 18 cents. I still believe it could see prices above 26 cents, but will it? I'm not as convinced as I am with this one. I'm definitely convinced you'll see prices above 20 cents. And likely, again, with the 2272, you go just above that, and that would indicate something around 25 to 26 cents, which you have targets for. So Swiftcoin here, where are we at here? $129 million, let's just say $130 million. If you were to do a 10x, that's a $1.3 billion market cap. If you were to do a 100x, that's a $13 billion market cap, right? $13 billion at 100x, that is a very doable target, I think. That's nothing too crazy, $13 billion. Now, $13 billion from $130 million, that's a large amount of growth, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I'm asking for anything unattainable here for a coin that's been around for multiple cycles that largely accumulated throughout this whole range, and now you're finally seeing it rip out of that. I don't think so. Swiftcoin, you guys, if you don't know about the fundamentals that back it up, then that's probably the only reason why you're having a hard time wrapping your head around 100x in price, okay? A 100x, am I doing this right? See, right, because that would be a 10x would be here, right? 100x, it would be $1.20, right? So something around here. That's 100x, yeah. Oh, I need the fibs back on there because that's what I like to do. Let's see, high to low. high to low there. So that's right in the money zone, actually. The 2886, the 3113, they're both labeled orange for a reason, right? Bitcoin's the color of money, not green anymore. We're taking the color back too. We're taking Swifties back, and we're taking the color of money back, you guys. It's going to be orange, and Swiftcoin is for the Swifties, not Taylor. 95 and 0.24 cents, $1.68, somewhere in that range should be your minimum kind of target area. And when I say minimum target area, of course you could stop lower. I don't know everything. You could stop lower. But if you were to see targets that I would expect, something on the lines of like a 73 to a 129, almost 130x would be on the table. Now, if you go higher than that, and I think you can go higher than that, you might see targets as high as $6 and maybe even as high as $10 by the end of the cycle. These deeper extensions, as you get past the 2618, really the 3113, but I don't know how well you'll respect this going forward. The deeper you get, the less respect you tend to show oftentimes, unless you're showing respect throughout the whole range, which we'll see if that happens. But I wouldn't expect if you get up here that you would necessarily respect these lines to a T. Sometimes you do, but it's like a 50-50. At this point, we don't have enough data to confirm that I would be convinced that you respect these lines just yet, but maybe in this area nonetheless. So $6, 916, psychological level of $10 could provide resistance there. All right, a 100x is 13 billion. If this was an 800x at $10, what would that be? 13 times 8 would be 80. Oh no, that's over $100 billion. Well, I don't think you hit $10, but I think you can get close to $10, right? But that would be your maximum. And truthfully with that, because I don't, no offense to Swiftcoin, I don't think that you see a $100 billion market cap by the end of the cycle. You have been around for multiple cycles, sure, and you could. It's more possible for you maybe than most coins at your market cap, but I don't think you do. I think if you were to see that, you might, if you see some kind of miraculous movement on this next move, maybe we can talk about that. But most likely, you will stop somewhere probably below $7 at the most crazy maximum that I could guess, somewhere around $7.50 or something like that. And then at a minimum, what I'm expecting would be something around 95 cents to $1.68 by the end of the cycle. Okay, this is end of cycle stuff. The beginning was end of April, end of March, end of this next phase up stuff. Oh, I don't have anything else that I want to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take it easy. Bye-bye.